Welcome to Surviving the Dream with your hosts, Casey Arnold
and David Conley.
We're here to talk to people who seem to have their dream job and find out, what did it take? Is it what they imagined? Is it worth it? How do they do it?
Join us as we uncover the secrets of surviving the dream.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Casey. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm very excited for our guest today, I have to say.
Well, that's good.
I'm always excited about the guest, but this might be like our most ambitious guest we've had to date. No shade to any of our other guests. I love everybody.
You mean this is a real dreamer we got today then?
I think it is. Yeah, right. She's made some big leaps and I want to hear what it takes to do all of that and what it's really like. So she started out as a dispatcher for the LA County Sheriffs, and she's now a deputy district attorney, and she's running for a seat on the LA Superior Court. So we get to pick her brain. Wow. Everybody, let's say hi. Hello, Sharon Ransom.
Hello. How are you?
I'm
so good. Thank you for being here with us.
We've never met before, have we, Sharon? We've definitely never met before. I just want to make that clear to the listeners that we've never met before with all these jobs.
You want them to know we've not been tried in court? Is that what you want everybody to know?
That's the subtext. That's the subtext that I'm just trying to get across.
We are innocent.
Yeah. This is definitely the first time that we've met, right?
So, Sharon, is the dream to become a judge, or is that the next step in a bigger dream, or what would you say your dream is?
So my dream is to become a judge, and not to the Supreme Court. I'm going to stop at the state court judge because that takes years on the bench, and I started this journey at a later age. So I don't have a lot of time to climb anymore, but becoming a judge is like a dream. Just based on my background and where I come from and the hurdles that I've had to overcome to get here, that's the ultimate dream.
What is it about being a judge that really speaks to you?
Well, that would go into a lot of my background, but I've been a deputy district attorney with the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office for the last 19 years. Prior to that, as you said, I was a dispatcher for the Sheriff's Department for 17 years. So I have a lot of county service under my belt, and I've always been a public servant. And just to become a judge is on a different level. Right now, as a deputy district attorney, I have the discretion to whether even to file a case or to offer probation, prison, or a program. But as a judge, I can do a little bit more because I will be making the decisions based on my experience and my knowledge of the facts of the case, making the decisions that could affect a person's life. And I think we're at a time where there's so much lack of trust in the criminal justice system, with all the crime going on and people just not trusting the system. And so I want to be the one. I'm not saying I can fix the entire system, but one step at a time to do my part to be a fair judge that it treats everyone with respect and dignity and just takes a case on a case-by-case basis to see why that person is in front of me. So I want to do that because a judge's decision can have a generational impact on families. And so we need people that are well-rounded and balanced and dedicated to doing the work. And that's why I want to be a judge.
And when did this dream start for you? Was there a trigger where you went, I think I know what I want to do now?
You know what's so funny is, how kids grow up and they say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be an attorney. I want to be a doctor. I never said that. I kind of just fumbled along the way and I ended up in these positions. And then once my friend brought me an application to be a dispatcher for the Sheriff's Department. And once I got in there, I decided I can go back to school because I was 21. I was a single mother. I completed 1 year of junior college, and then I wanted to work to have money because I wanted to buy a car. So it's when I got into the Sheriff's Department, I saw that I could go back to school and get my education, get my degrees, and do something better with my life. And so every step along the way, the path opened up for me. Mm-hmm. And each time I had a new goal to reach, a new dream. So once I became a dispatcher for the Sheriff's Department and I started taking criminal justice classes in school, I actually wanted to be a crime scene investigator. I wanted to go out to crime scenes, collect evidence, and I went on a tour of our crime lab with the sheriff's department, and I saw some of the goriest pictures of, them going out to crime scenes and seeing all this blood and guts, and I was like, God, do you really want to do that? So as it turns out, I didn't get the job anyway, which I think was God's way of telling me you don't need to be here. And
Yeah.
then I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the second time it metastasized to my lung, I was in City of Hope being treated for metastatic breast cancer. My aunt had just graduated from the law school that I went to. And in there, I was fighting for my life because I had had breast cancer when I was 30, and 2.5 years later, it spread to my lung. I had a portion of my lung removed, and then I went into City of Hope for high dose chemo and autologous stem cell replacement. And when I was in there, I promised God, like I was praying, and I'm like, if you spare my life, I'm going to do something great with it. So when I got released from the hospital, it took about a year for me to recover because they really hit you hard with chemotherapy. And I called my oncologist and I said, you know what? I want to go to law school. What do you think? And she was like, heck yeah, you're a fighter. Do it. Do it. So I wrote an essay to get into law school, and I met with the dean, and she said, well, let's take it easy. Let's start off with an easy caseload so you can get acclimated to it. So I started off with 2 cases, and I'm like, I can do this. So the next semester, I took 4 classes. So I went to University of West Los Angeles as a part-time evening student because I was still working full-time as a sheriff's dispatcher and raising my daughter. And it all happened upon. So once I'm in law school, I'm like, hey, I want to be an attorney. I wanted to actually represent people that have been diagnosed with breast cancer and that were not receiving like the proper treatment. Or I met a lady who had to make a decision between paying her rent or paying for chemotherapy. And so it really touched my heart, right? So then, but once I got into school, and I was a breast cancer counselor, because I was young when I was diagnosed, my oncologist would have people, I told them, call me if they're young and they want to talk to me about my history with it, call me. And so I was doing that. But when I got in law school, criminal law intrigued me, and criminal procedure and evidence and constitutional law. And so I did some internships with the district attorney's office, and I got hired by the district attorney's office. So still not had that dream of becoming a judge because I was just learning a new profession. I was getting my feet wet. And after about 5 years, I saw what judges did, and I said, I can do that. But you have to be an attorney for 10 years before you can even apply to be a judge. Either to run through an election or be appointed by the governor. So after my 10-year mark, I'm still like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. And then in 2022, I'm like, now's the time. And I filed to run. I ran in 2022, but I was not successful. And I ran in a seat of 6 people. And I came in 3rd, which is not good enough. And so when the election opened up again, it's every 2 years, you file to your intent to run the end of 2023 for 2024. I'm like, you know what? And a couple of judges called me and said, don't give up. Don't give up. You'll be so great at this. Don't give up. And so I filed to run again. So here I am now running. And in the primary, I did really well. I didn't get over 50%. I was at 54%, and then I dropped to 48%. And now I'm in the runoff, and the chances look really good for me to win this election. So that's my long story of how I got to where I am.
Wow, what a story.
That is amazing. You're definitely one of those people that doesn't take no for an answer. I like it.
Not at all. Not to cancer, not to not winning an election. I'm going to keep going.
I've got so many questions that I need to ask you, and I know Casey does as well. But I mean, so we're going to try and get some in there because this is fascinating. Now, someone who has not spent an awful lot of time in court, Casey might be different. I don't know.
Only if jury duty counts. Thank you.
I'm kind of fascinated about my experience of court is watching TV, and it's always the attorneys who are just like cutting each other up and biting things, and the judge is always the sanguine character at the back and goes, Yeah, I'll allow that. What is it that you see is pivotal to become a judge?
I'm sorry, what did I see in court that
What made you think, you know what, I want to be the judge?
uh, so I saw what the judges did. I saw the power that they have to set someone's life on a different course.
Right.
It's an adversarial process. So you are, as a prosecutor, I'm going up against defense attorneys and public defenders, but I think it's so important to be cordial. And I see so many judges that make decisions that can affect a person, whether they be good or bad. And
Mm-hmm.
I decided this is what I want to do, and this is why I want to do it. I want to do it because there of the judges in Los Angeles County, there are less than 5% are Black women, and so I want to
Really?
be one of the ones that make a difference. I um, right now I work in the mental health unit in Hollywood, and in that it's somewhat adversarial, but we don't focus on putting people in prison or jail. We focus on getting treatment for the mentally ill people that have committed a crime, and so they can go through um, a diversion program if their crime is not too violent. They can go through diversion, and at the end of that 2-year period of diversion, if they're successful, they get permanent housing, medication, doctors, therapists, psychiatrists, and it sets them on a different course because we see a lot of mentally ill, unhoused people that are committing crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they're not medicated. And so I like the collaborative effort that we do in there because it's myself, the defense attorney, the judge, um, the social workers, the doctors, the therapists, the psychiatrists, psychologists, the program directors, all working together to get this mentally ill, unhoused person something that's permanent that can sustain them. And then maybe they don't end up in the system again. So I really like the work we do in the mental health unit. I think it's the only one and the best one in the country because we have a courthouse that's designated for mental health cases. And
Oh, I
it's
never
right
knew
there on
that.
Hollywood Boulevard. It's past the tourist attractions, but it's right. It's at Hollywood Boulevard in the 101 freeway. And
Oh,
so,
I pass that nearly every day.
yes, and it's very unassuming. It's kind of back off
Yeah,
the street. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so
Oh.
glad to know that we have something like that. My dad suffered from mental illness, and I know like there was not a lot of support, and it's really,
Right.
really hard to navigate the system.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that exists. And question tagging on to what Dave just asked, how do you sort of shift your lens from like as a prosecutor now, you don't really get to be impartial, but as a judge, you have to be like, do you ever find yourself as a prosecutor sort of wishing like you didn't have to see it from that vantage point?
From the prosecutor's
Yeah.
perspective, absolutely, absolutely. I see it a lot, and I see it. Um, I see it in different cases that I've had where a person they've committed a crime. Don't get me wrong, but maybe the reason they committed the crime or
Mm-hmm.
their circumstances, and especially I saw it a lot when I was in juvenile because in the district attorney's office, we all go rotate through the juvenile division for a year. And that is where I saw the most dysfunctional families. And
Mm.
these kids didn't stand a chance because of the parents. Parents might have been addicted to drugs or just not caring for the kids. These kids were raising themselves. It was the first time I ever had a case where a kid robbed the ice cream man. And I was appalled, like, who robs the ice cream man? They bring us treats.
It's got to be pretty bad
I'm
when they
chasing
ring
the
that
ice cream man
bell.
down the street to get a big stick. So it was like eye opening for me. And we had a case where a minor had been to camp community placement and he had served his time and he was waiting on his father to pick him up. And each day we brought him back for his father to pick him up. 3 days went by. His father had not come to pick him up.
Oh
And it just
man.
broke my heart. So those are the kind of issues um, that tug at my heartstrings. And those are the people that, even as a prosecutor, I want to offer them a program. I want to offer them something to
Mm-hmm.
get their lives on a different track. And so, and especially working in this collaborative effort where we're not trying to prosecute. I'm not trying to prove the facts of a case. I'm trying to see what can we do to help this person. And I think that is a judge's duty. It's not just to hand out sentences or punishment, but to be well-rounded and to see what are the alternatives that we can use to help this person. Yeah. So, but there are some people, don't get me wrong, that need to be going to timeout from society.
Yeah. I mean, I used to work in those camps as an artist in residence. I would go in there, and so I understand a little bit of that world. I mean, it was for someone like me as an outsider who was, it was English.
You mean as a foreigner?
As a dirty foreigner. Well, I thought there was a couple of things. I realized that in those camps, dare I say, I was usually the only white person in there. And I think then I open my mouth and I've got a bizarre accent. And I saw some things in there, and I saw some beautiful things in there as well, actually, of people and humanity and how you can change someone's life. There was a young kid who we were working on screenplays, and I remember the warden, one of the better words, said afterwards, "Oh, how's it going?" I said, "Well, there's only one kid who's doing anything. The rest are basically tearing the place up." And they said, "Which one?" And I just said which one it was, and they said, "No, you've got the wrong guy." And then the teacher said, "No, it is him." And I remember a very good judge allowing him out because after being in there for quite a while, because the judge read his screenplay. I don't know what happened to this kid afterwards. I hope he's okay. But and he went, and I just thought that to me was like, that is the power of the judge, and that was an ethical thing to do.
Absolutely. And for me, I want to go to a juvenile location where I'm dealing with children because I think I'm more of a nurturer, and like you said, judges can have a good impact on a young person's life because the young person want to please someone. They want to be accepted. They want to be commended for what they do. And if you have a judge that is doing that, giving positive reinforcement where they might not be getting it at home, I think it goes a long way. And then especially the majority of people that come through our courts are African American, Latino. To see somebody that looks like them, that is encouraging them and believing in them. Like, I think as a judge, I would require them to get a diploma as part of their probation.
Can you do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that's a thing you could do. Have you had anybody that you've helped? Have you gotten to see them come back and see the difference that it's made to put them in the program?
I have not, because I was only in juvenile for 1 year. And then I also participate in what we call Project Lead. That is a program where we teach fifth graders about the criminal justice system. And unfortunately, every semester we have different students, and we don't keep track of the students or what goes on with them. But there's always a couple of students in the class that are really on top of things, and I give them my card, and I said, "Hey, call me if you ever need advice, you ever want to talk." But they don't really follow up, but I'm open to it all the time because I think, at the fifth grade level is where they found out that we could reach them and let them, be able to instruct them on what the criminal justice system is about, and even making good life choices. We have our curriculum, we have a lesson where we give them a check, and then we tell them where they are in life. Either they're like unemployed with 2 children in an apartment, or they're a CEO of a company and they make all this money and they have no children, and then we have them spend the money and see how they would spend it and how much they have left over. And that's really to show them you need a degree. You need to get a college degree. But it's so funny because we always have the best time with the boys, because the boys are like, the girls will always say, I'm going to use all my money for rent and food because I have my 2 kids. And the boys are like, "Oh, I'm spending my money on women." And I'm like, it starts at a young age. Oh no. Like, I want to have 2 wives. I'm like, you can only have one in this lecture.
it is interesting. It starts out young. When I was in college, we had like a gender studies class where we would go in and teach a group of kids kind of that same principle of things of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? All right, I guess I'm realizing I have a theme in my life where I like to talk to people about their professions. But it was the same. Like some of the girls would be like, I'm just going to marry a rich man and let him take care of me. And the boys were like, I'm not taking care of no woman. Like you could tell some of that. I'm like, and I think they were also fifth grade. I'm like, how is this already so instilled in you? What age do we have to start to like really make a difference? Like how young are the kids that you've seen in juvenile court?
Well, they can be like 10 to anywhere to 18, 17. Wow. I don't think I've had many 10-year-olds, but basically probably about 14. Like the kid that robbed the ice cream man, he was 14 with a gun.
Wow.
So, oh my God.
He was part of a gang already.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
so you
those
said
are the ones that I would really like to help.
You said that your history growing up helped get you to want to do these kinds of things. Like, did you have anyone in your life when you were younger that you saw go down the different path that you wish you could have brought with you on your path?
Yeah, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, and I was raised by a single mother. And we lived on 100. I don't know if you're familiar with the LA area, but we lived on 105th and Normandy. Mm-hmm. And the street is so bad that now they made it a one-way street and put speed bumps on it. It's that bad over there.
Wow.
And then I moved to Florence in Normandy when I was a teenager. But after I finished elementary school, they started integrating us out to the valleys, to schools in the valley. So I was part of the busing to the kids from the inner city out to the valley. And so from junior high through high school, I went to school in the valley, in San Fernando Valley. And my mom was very active. Like I played softball growing up, and my mom was my coach. And my mom is actually the first woman to officiate a girls' college softball game.
Okay,
so
Mom.
she's really she trains umpires and all that stuff. So I went there and I played softball. I was a pitcher, and it just showed me a different way. I didn't like it at the time because I wanted to go to my home school with all my friends, but a lot of my friends got addicted to crack and just kind of went a different way because they were always in the community. And I think going there helped me a little bit to see a different style of life from the inner city. And I met a lot of people from all different nationalities. I had a lot of different friends, and I just learned different cultures and things like that. So I don't know what would have happened if I had stayed in that area for school, but I spent so much time out of it. And my mom, as a single mother, was very hands-on. She was my softball coach. She this was before seatbelts were really the thing to do. My mom would have 10 kids in a Datsun B210 taking us all to softball practice. So she was always hands-on, but my mom, I'm the first generation college, first lawyer, first person running for judge, and my family is so proud of me. And my daughter is 37, and she is a registered nurse at LAC USC Hospital. She's in the emergency room in the trauma department. And so she's like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. And I tell all the doctors to vote for you. And she just texted me and said, you got 2 more votes. So I think, what my mom instilled in me, I tried to instill it in my daughter and hopefully into my granddaughter who's 16, who's going through a lot of peer pressure. And man, it's just crazy, right? And so I think that I wish I could have done more to help some of my friends that had gone through becoming addicted to crack and just taking a different turn.
Yeah, sounds like you're definitely shifting the pattern, though.
When I was in the camp system, working as an artist in residence, I was kind of shocked about the gang culture. And
I'm sorry, David, I can't hear you.
I was shocked about it. Seems there's been 5 generations of gangs now.
Yes.
And I was in there and it felt impenetrable to me. It felt like, it was even as an artist trying to guide people to write stories, how to try and get them off the gang subject. Every fight I saw was not because somebody had done something that was really annoying. It was a gang fight, male and female.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, and I certainly don't expect you to have it. But what do we do about that?
It just, I sometimes that's hard to break because, like you said, it's generational.
Mm-hmm.
I had a case where the whole family, grandfather, father, child, were all the gang members, and like one was like, just for instance, OG Fish, and then Original Fish, and then Baby Fish were the monikers, right? And so it's hard to break that until, because that's what they go home to.
Right.
But you can try to reach them in school or try to reach them through programs, but that family influence is very strong. So it takes a
Yeah.
lot to break that because that's what they know. And when the parents condone it,
Yeah.
they don't know anything else unless they're a really strong-willed kid
Mm-hmm.
that says, no, I want to do different, I want to be different. But they have to have somebody to guide them along the way, and I hope that I can do that for somebody, especially the young girls, because
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I don't mind telling them that I was raised by a single parent. I became a single parent at 21, and you're not defined by your circumstances. Like, you can get out of that. You just have to try. You have to want it and work hard at it. So I would love to encourage our young girls, because I see so much now on TikTok and all this stuff. There's so little respect for themselves, and the dressing and the dancing and the things that are going on. And I'm just like, oh my God, these kids. So, I don't know. It's very hard to break that generational circumstances of being in a gang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like you've broken it for your family, so it can be done.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think 16-year-old you would think about where you are in life now?
16-year-old me would be like, wow, really? This is where you ended up? Because even 15, 16-year-old me still had a little issues, I was not perfect. So even people that I went to high school with in my younger years, I'll say 14, 15, by 16, I was starting to get it together. But they were like, Sharon Ransom is running for judge? Oh my.
But there's
This
always those
really
people that want you to stay the same forever, right?
Right, yeah. So 16-year-old me would be proud of me now and say, you did it. You withstood the course.
And again, this is like, there's so much about America that I find kind of fascinating. And I did the first time I'm a citizen now, and I remember the first time I voted, going, I'm voting for judges, because where I come from, judges are basically elected. They're not elected; they're basically appointed. Is that something you're? I don't know. Again, I don't know the answer. I'm not judging. I'm just because I'm not a judge. But what do you feel about that? Do you feel like it should be an elected position, or should it be an appointment?
I feel like either one is sufficient. I will say about the election process, it's very difficult for voters to really know who they're voting for.
Right.
Because our race is countywide, and we have to reach out to 5 million voters, and it is impossible. You see, I'm driving to Lancaster, like 60 something, 70 miles away, to meet voters. And so, although the appointed positions there's still the whole vetting process. Appointment or elected, there's a vetting process where we have to submit applications, and we have to provide 75 names to the LA County Bar Association, and they vet us. They interview people, the names that we've given. The same thing happens when you're appointed. It's just more private and secret when going through the appointment process, and it's based on if the governor feels you're worthy to be appointed judge or not. So it's a different route. And I think even with the election process, if the person is wacky and way out there in what they say, the voters will see. But it is unfortunate that sometimes people just go to the ballot and say, oh, I'm going to vote for a woman, or I'm going to vote for a prosecutor, or I'm going to vote for a public defender. So it really is hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like? Sorry, Dave. What should we know as voters? Like, what should we look out for? What do you wish people understood more about being a judge?
Right. So I think any attorney, and we've all had to practice law for 10 years, Google everyone's name. Something will come up about them, whether it be good or bad. You'll get something. every person running for office has a website. We're in the land of technology. Everyone has a website. You can see what they do. You can see kind of what they believe in, and just really Google. Like if you Google my name as an attorney, you'll see cases I handled. You'll see things that I've done. You might see more about the election process. There's a lot of sites where they talk about our answers to certain questions, why we want to be a judge, or how we can't talk about how we would rule on a case, but just what our general philosophy is as with respects to being a judge. So other than that, it's so hard to really know. It's very difficult, I'll admit.
And do you have a team around you, or is it just you driving on your own going, hey, I'm running for judge? How does it work? Is it
I'm
the same
sorry,
as
say that again, David. I can't hear you that well.
It's probably my ridiculous accent. Do you have a team around you who are helping you with this, or are you having to do it all by yourself?
Do I have a team helping me?
Yeah.
No, I have when I say a consultant, she does my social media. She's really good in analytics and digital ads. She does my website. She maintains my website. She maintains my social media presence, my Facebook, my Instagram. I had a consultant the last time I ran that did a lot more hands-on things, but this time I'm running a grassroots campaign. I am doing everything myself. And my daughter helps me. I have some friends that ran before that are helping me, that are judges that kind of tell me where I need to be. But I've been making like cold calls, cold emails. Hey, I'm running for judge. Can I come speak to your group? Can I talk to you? Can I, can we, just be able to put information out there to voters. And so this time I've done a lot of it on my own, but I got the experience from doing it the last time. And this time is, it's a little stressful, but it's still, it's doable. I feel really good about it. This time I've gotten a lot of great endorsements that I didn't have the last time. I got the LA Times endorsement. I got the Met News endorsement, Sentinel. I got a lot of labor unions, police unions, Democratic clubs, national women's clubs. I have a lot of endorsements, and those people tell people, because people that are really into voting, they follow those groups and they get their information from them. So this time I did it mostly myself, but I think I'm feeling much more successful.
Yeah, this way your message doesn't get muddied, right?
Right. It's my message. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like what inspires you to get in the car and drive those 60 miles and make all the calls and do all this stuff?
It inspired to reach out to as many voters as I can in different areas. There's no reason for me to be in Lancaster. It's so far, but I've gone all over because it's important to me when these organizations send an invitation that I respond, that I answer, so I can let these particular set of voters know who I am, see my face, hear what I have to say, and they can make an informed decision as to whether to vote for me or not. So I'm inspired to go to all these places. I've been to a lot of places. I think I've gone to like 3 churches on one Sunday, just to reach voters, because voters have such a hard time selecting judges because it's so low information.
Yeah. Have you learned anything in the process that you're surprised to learn, or just something that sticks out?
Let's see. I learned that I will push myself to the limit. I mean, literally, I've driven Saturday. Was it Saturday? I was in Castaic. Then I went to Culver City. Then I went to Long Beach. So I put some miles in, and I am tired. It is getting very tiring. And Sunday, I just had to take a rest and take a break from it. But I just learned that, I'm dedicated and loyal and just want to get this done. I want to win because I think I know I'd be a great judge. And it's important for me to reach out to as many voters as I can.
What do you... Oh, go ahead.
No, go, Casey. Go.
I just was going to say, what do you do to recharge in between so that it still feels like fresh and exciting for you?
So I am a diehard Rams fan. And I have season tickets. I go to the Rams games. Ironically, this is the first season that I missed a couple of games to campaign. And that's, people were like, really? You're not going to the game? Like, no, I gave my tickets away. But it just meeting a new group and just a new day to campaign, to get out and meet people is exciting. I don't really recharge because I work all day, and then I go to events in the evening, and then I go to bed, go home and go to bed and do it all over again. So we're winding down now. I think after talking to you and going to Lancaster, I have one more event on Sunday, and then I'm just gonna, let the chips fall where they might, because I need to get some sleep.
Well, as we know, you're on the campaign trail, so we've got to get you back out there doing that. So we're going to go to questions now, so that we can get you back on the road to Lancaster.
Okay.
So we've got a few set questions that we ask everybody. There's no wrong answers. If you won the lottery, the big one, what would you do?
Oh, if I won the big lottery, well, I would definitely buy my mom a house that she deserves, and I would probably put money into youth, some kind of programs for youth, because I care so much about kids and them having a fair chance. And I think for me, being persistent and just wanting to follow through with things. Some kids don't have that. So if I could have a center where kids could go every day after school and learn these tools that they need and learn some positive reinforcement, I would definitely do something like that. And I'd probably travel. I love to travel.
Well, you're going to Lancaster today, so you started that journey.
Not that kind of travel, like plane travel.
Not be driving her car all over the place.
Right.
Okay, I have my set question, but I also have a quick, stupid question that I have to ask, because people's names always interest me. Do you feel like having the last name Ransom is any part of what led you to work in the legal field?
Oh my God, it is so. That's the best name to be in the legal profession, right? Because when people say, "Did you say ransom?" I'm like, "Yeah, kidnap for ransom," or they'll ask me that, like, "Kidnap for ransom?" Yes, I think it's such a cool name. And so my fiance is just like, "Are you going to change your name?" I'm like, I don't think so.
No, it's such a good name. And I feel like a name like that forces you to have like a big personality too, right? Because people always have a comment on it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that was my first dumb question. My next one is, what is your go-to snack when you're driving around doing all these things, trying to be your best self for people so they get to know you? What do you turn to?
Potato chips.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that was clear.
Barbecue potato chips.
Oh, yeah. Barbecue potato chips. Those are good.
The judgment is out. All right. Or the judgment is in, I should say. All right. So I want to know, what is your favorite animal, Sharon, and why?
My favorite animal?
Mm-hmm.
The lion. I think they're so pretty and so regal. I'm a Leo, but I love lions. I love the male and the female. I went on a safari in South Africa, and I was like, I need to see the lion. So I saw the lion, but my friends went on a safari, and my friend walked a lion.
Wait, what does that mean, walked a lion?
She was walking the lion like a dog on a leash.
What?
Oh, my God.
Yes.
I've never heard of anyone doing that. How powerful did your friend feel to have superiority over a lion?
She was really afraid, but she did it. I love lions. I collect lions. I just think they're the most beautiful animal on earth. So I collect lions I would want to go to South Africa and walk a lion.
I stroked a lion once as a kid.
Don't get dirty now.
No, it was a genuine lion. It was I was brought up in a mental hospital because my father worked there, and they brought a lion around one day.
To teach people humility? What do you bring a lion around for in a mental hospital?
Bring your lion to work day.
I think it was. I don't know. I just remember. Look, it's a long time ago. I just will never forget the lion.
Wow,
that's pretty
and stroking the lion.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Clearly, I got to up my lion game. Okay. Last question, Sharon. If we really knew you, what would we know about you?
You would know that I am a fun person. I like to laugh. I like people. I like to entertain. I love to entertain. Um, I'm not the life of the party, but I'm pretty happy, and I'm just very serious about what I want to do in life. I'm a fighter. I fought cancer 3 times. I don't take
Wow.
no for an answer, and I'm just a all around decent person. I'd say myself.
That's a good quality. Do you have a hack that you do to shake off all the bad stuff you're around to maintain that?
Um, I so I've learned to, like, today I had 3 defense attorneys against me, all just throwing things at me. Here, read this report, read this report, read this report. And I said, you know what? You guys need to calm down. There are 3 of you and 1 of me. You can't hand me a 21-page report and ask me to read it in 2 minutes. So I know how to, like, get them off of me in a professional way.
Well, Sharon, this has been a wonderful podcast having you on. Thank you so much
so
for
good.
joining
Thank you so
us.
much for making time for us. We really enjoyed talking to you.
I really hope
you
that you succeed. And get your
I
dream.
hope it turns out well for you.
Thank you. I'll let you know, definitely.
Yeah,
Please,
for sure.
Please,
Okay.
we will have it on the website, The Ultimate Dreamer.
Right. We'll see what comes next. I feel like you might still come up with the next, even after Judge.
I'm going to walk that lion.
Yeah, you are.
Walk the lion. Yeah, all the way to the White House.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Dave. Thanks, everybody,
guys.
for listening.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye. Quick shout out to Mike Nicholas for being our tech savior, and Carmen Sclafani, also known as Wiser Time. Thanks for our music. And thank you all for listening.